What's going on, Eagles Nation? It's Sacred Eagle, and today, I didn't want to talk about the Eagles. I wanted to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. More specifically, Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboy fans. First and foremost, it's been 2 days since your own Ezekiel Elliott got suspended for 6 games for violation of the NFL's Code of Conduct. They warned him of banishment if he has one more wrongdoing that the NFL catches. Oh man. And not only that, but you guys are in no room to talk. All right. You guys are in no room to say that you easily will win the NFC East division. Let's be real. The Giants are most likely the NFC East favorites, but the NFC East is wide open. It's wide open because we don't know how you're going to start in those first 6 or 4 games, depending on his appeal. We don't know how the Cowboys are going to be after those 4 to 6 games. Not to mention, we don't know how the Redskins are going to fare either. The Redskins are the biggest mess right now, but going with being consistent, that's where the New York Giants take the win and take the, NFC East favorites away from the Cowboys, away from the Eagles, away from the Redskins. But I wanted to talk about Dak Prescott. Do you guys remember in 2014 when the Eagles were battling it out with the Cowboys? Do you remember the reason why the Cowboys, or at least one of the reasons why the Dallas Cowboys were so great? I'll give you a hint. It was the offensive line, and it was DeMarco Murray. They ran DeMarco Murray to his limits in 2014, and he led the NFL in rushing yards. I forget what it was. It was like 1,400 maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head. But not only that, but you had a younger Des Bryant who wasn't getting injured. 2015 got injured. 2016 didn't live up to the same hype that he did back 2014, 2015, mostly because of Ezekiel Elliott's presence. Tony Romo didn't have to throw as much. He didn't have to have all the weight of the world on his shoulders when down 10, 20 points in the fourth quarter. He would manage by handing it off to Murray, setting up the play action, scaring teams with DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant, and burning somebody with Cole Beasley or Terrence Williams or even himself. Dak Prescott, he didn't have to do that last year. Last year, the Cowboys were in a situation where they were always ahead of the team. Their defense would fall sometimes, but Ezekiel Elliott will lead them back and score another touchdown or field goal or whatever they get. Dak Prescott didn't do much. Sure, 25 interceptions or 25 touchdowns, roughly, 4 interceptions. That's great. That's really good numbers for a rookie. But remember, the yards he threw weren't that big for a guy that got, like 25 or more or less touchdowns. I can't remember off the top of my head. But Ezekiel Elliott, 1,600 and like 70 plus yards, almost 1,700, I believe. That's what I'm trying to get at. Ezekiel Elliott, DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray was Tony Romo's safe haven. That is exactly what Ezekiel Elliott was in Dak Prescott's rookie season. Carson Wentz, because there's this whole controversy over who's the better quarterback out of the 2017 draft between him, Goff, and Dak Prescott. Carson Wentz did not have a Des Bryant. He did not have an Ezekiel Elliott. He did not have an offensive line that met Dallas' standards. Only reason being is because Lane Johnson was suspended from week 4 to week 14. Came back week 15 and week 16. Showed a lot of his presence in those 3 games he was back. In the 3 games he was here initially, we were 3-0 with a terrible wide receiving core and a very inconsistent running game with Ryan Matthews, Wendell Smallwood, and Darren Sproles leading the way. Dak Prescott has not yet had to struggle with those issues compared to Wentz. That's why I do not compare the two. That's why I don't say one of them is better than the other. In the end, Dak Prescott's preseason record is 0-1. He has yet to make a Super Bowl. And sure, rookie MVP of the year. Great. You didn't win a Super Bowl. You didn't win a playoff game. You're on the same level as Carson Wentz. Sure, you had 13 wins compared to his 7. You have 6 more wins. That makes you a better quarterback in the winning column. But Super Bowls, no. In playoff wins, no. What Carson Wentz does have over Dak Prescott is playoff losses, because Carson Wentz hasn't been there yet. And I can tell you now, I expect Carson Wentz to be in not the Super Bowl, the playoffs this year. But back to Dak Prescott, he hasn't had that struggle with all the weight carried on his own shoulders that Wentz had last year, that Tony Romo had in 2015 before his injury, and then, bam, had nothing to do without the quarterback, without a consistent running game, and without a Dez Bryant. You lost those three components, you went 4-12. You've lost one of the three right now. You lost Elliott for 6. You still have Prescott, and you still have Dez Bryant. Your defense is flawed, and that's the biggest issue. Your corner, your secondary, right now, is the worst in the NFC. By far, it's one of the worst. The Eagles, before their trade to Buffalo, they had one of the worst. Now we have a starting cornerback who's proven himself in his rookie and second year that he can still play, going up with an improving Jalen Mills, a young Rasul Douglas, and a veteran Patrick Robinson, leading the way. Am I saying that they're going to be lights out? No, we don't know that. We'll find out eventually, of course, but I don't expect them to be lights out. But the Cowboys, that defense is in trouble. Prescott is in trouble because he doesn't have somebody like Elliott in those first 6 games. And reminder, those first 6 games go up against teams like Green Bay, New York, Washington, St. Louis, Denver, and whoever the hell else. You guys are in trouble those first 6 games. And if it's 4 games, great. You're still going up against New York, Denver, and 2 other teams that could be as easily as much of a challenge as New York will be, and Denver's defense will be. So I'm just saying, Dak Prescott needs to prove himself this year. In those first 4 to 6 games, without his star running back, can he do what he needs to do in order to win? He's never been put in a position like that, where he doesn't have anyone else to rely on, anyone else to help in his offensive system, minus Dez Bryant, of course. Because Dez Bryant, you just throw it up to him, he'll make the catch. Guess what? Carson Wentz has that now with Alshon Jeffrey. All he needs to do is stay off the PEDs and stay healthy. And you lost linebackers, you lost offensive linemen, you've lost secondary. You've lost your secondary. Nolan Carroll is leading your secondary, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on your team because Nolan Carroll is trash. I'm just saying, guys, tell me in the comments what you think about my topic on Dak Prescott, my opinion. But Dak Prescott needs to prove himself, and he needs to show what he can really do when the time comes, when he is needed to be there. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz will have everything he needs right there for him. We'll see who's really NFC East champions.